I'm Megan O'Leary here with Dana White. UFC 131 has just ended in Vancouver. Dana, you heard a lot of criticism about this card, everybody being injured. How stupid are people going to feel tomorrow that they didn't buy this?
Listen, you're either a fight fan or you're not. If you're a fight fan, you're going to buy the card. The thing with me is when people start saying fights suck, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, you can't say a fight sucks till the fight's over. You know, some of these people are just goofy people on the internet that want attention, and the others aren't real fight fans. There's going to be people who will buy every card. There's going to be people that will buy some cards, and there's going to be, you know, the diehard fight fans that no matter what it is, they want to see fights.
There was some controversy tonight with the 30-27 scores. We saw on Twitter you weren't happy. Is it frustrating for you that you can't do anything about that judging?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and it's horrible. It's just getting to the point now where, you know, when you see something that's that blatantly wrong, the hard part for me is you're affecting people's lives. It's one thing, listen, my business, you know, people get pissed off about what people are pissed off about is the fighters. How hard these guys train, how hard they work, and to have somebody, we even have television monitors in front of guys now. You're watching a television monitor and you still come up with a 30-27 in these fights? You should never judge another fight as long as you live. You don't deserve to be in the fight business. You're hurting these fucking guys that are out there training and working hard. It absolutely drives me nuts.
Somebody that was really hurt by the decision was Omagawa, and you said you will be paying him his purse, but you know, then that puts another loss on his record that was very unwarranted. Do you feel like you're going to have to continually do that and pay guys their win bonus, even if the judges didn't score it that way?
Yeah, these people that continue to hurt these fighters, and you're right, it's a loss on his record. The only thing that I can do is say, they're wrong, you won, and I can pay you your money, and I don't treat you like you lost. But it's not right. It's not the right way it should happen. It should, if you don't know how to judge fights, you shouldn't be judging fights. If you don't know how to ref a fight, you shouldn't be reffing fights either.
You know, there's schools for refs that people can go to, like Herb Dean has one. Do you think there's something we can do to better educate the judges in the system?
Let me tell you what, I don't know Herb Dean. I've never hung out with Herb Dean. Mm-hmm. I have no relationship whatsoever to Herb Dean. I said hi to Herb Dean a few times. That's it, okay? He's the best referee in the business and probably the best referee in history. And if he has a school, every one of you referees should be at his school, okay? Because if I was a fighter and my livelihood, my life, my record, my future was on the line, I want to see Herb Dean standing in that octagon, or at least somebody that went to Herb Dean's school.
All right, well, a fight on the card tonight that was a bit controversial with the 30-27 was Munoz and Maia. How surprised were you at Maia's striking ability and how greatly he's improved on his feet?
I was impressed with both those guys. First of all, Stephan Bonner was sitting next to me during the fight, and he looks at me and goes, ooh, this is a bad matchup for Demian Maia. And then Demian Maia came out with stuff we've never seen from him. I was very impressed with him tonight. He went after it. He was going for the finish. He was trying to knock Munoz out. Munoz did not expect that. I guarantee you, Munoz was training to defend the takedown and not go to the ground and get in submissions. He didn't expect to get rocked and wobbled by Demian Maia all night. And both guys fought an outstanding fight.
Munoz came out with the victory. You know, he's been on quite a tear lately in the middleweight division. Can we expect maybe a matchup with somebody like Brian Stann or, you know, Chris Lieben or Vanderlei Silva after this?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I never like to make fights right after the thing happens, and but you just said it yourself. There's a lot of great matchups in that division that we can make.
Dave Herman put on a great performance tonight in his UFC debut. It's got to be good to get some new blood in the heavyweight division, right?
That fight was awesome, and yes, it's so good to see guys that fight like that and guys that, you know, have the heart and the you know, the heart and the skill that guy has. Tell me he doesn't look like Peyton Manning. Doesn't he look just like Peyton Manning?
Well, Kenny Florian made his featherweight debut. You know, his weight cut was very talked about. Were you nervous at all? Is he going to make weight on Friday?
I was never nervous if Kenny was going to make weight or not. He's a professional and always has been. You know, a guy who came from 85 down to, you know, tonight. But I was wondering, you wonder, after cutting that weight for the first time, you know, was it going to affect his performance? Was he going to be weak? Was he going to gas out? And he didn't. He looked good tonight.
What did you think of his performance? That was a back-and-forth fight. Diego gave him quite a war.
I thought he looked good. Diego's awesome, man. He's a great fighter. And like Kenny said, I believe what Kenny said, he'll be a world champion someday. He's definitely very good, and Kenny looked awesome tonight.
So is he next in line for Jose? You said probably, but can we get anything definitive?
Probably, maybe. And what was that earlier where they were talking about You know, me talking about Kenny. The thing is that I've said about Kenny in the past is Kenny fights like he fought tonight, and he fights like he fights all the time. He fights differently in title fights. You know, if he gets that title shot and he goes in and fights like Kenny Florian normally does, you know, and doesn't come up with some crazy game plan to run around in circles or do some other stuff, Kenny Florian could win a title.
A title fight we do know is happening is Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez. Junior really just took over Shane Carwin tonight, manhandled him in there. Are you really excited for this matchup with Cain? Is this one of the most highly anticipated heavyweight bouts the UFC has seen in a while?
Yeah, I love this fight. He said tonight he looked great. His game plan's always the same. Somebody called him tonight the modern day Chuck Liddell. I agree with that. He defends the takedown. He tries to knock you out, but going up against Cain Velasquez, he said tonight he's just going to keep focusing on his boxing. He better focus on a lot more than that if he's going to take on Cain Velasquez and seriously try to beat him. Cain Velasquez is well-rounded. He will punch you. He will kick you. He will pick you up and slam you. He will beat you up on the ground, and he is a cardio machine. I call him the Terminator, man. He will not stop until he finishes you. So, you know, I think Junior's going to have to work on his all-around game for the Cain Velasquez fight. Yeah,
it's a great matchup. This weekend in Vancouver, though, it's kind of been hockey crazy. These fans love their hockey, but they also love their fights. I heard you talking in the press conference saying in America you kind of, you know, are the 4th or 5th or 6th most popular sport. What's it feel like, you know, being right up there with Canada's, you know, religion, hockey?
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if we're the 4th, 5th, or you know, whatever sport in the United States, but that's how we're treated. We don't get the coverage. You know, that's the thing about Canada that's so awesome. They treat us well up here. They treat us with respect. All the media covers us, you know, unlike the United States.
All right, and finally, Shaquille O'Neal retired from the NBA this week. We heard some rumblings that maybe you would like to use him as a UFC ambassador. How much truth is there to that?
Well, Shaq and I have been talking. He called me the week before he was going to retire. He loves this sport. He's always been a good friend to us. You know, he helped us promote season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter and many other things. And we'll see what happens. We're talking.
All right. Well, congratulations on a great fight card tonight, Dana.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Keep checking Heavy.com for more coverage.